Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah.
Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too.
Salutations, Dufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with another special presentation. Moving forward, getting to know some amazing people from all over the world and this great thing called the internet. I am finding some very, very beautiful and very bright lighted people. And it's just an amazing opportunity for me to have conversations with them, for them to let me into their lives and for them to give me a glimpse into how they live and how they think. It's just so beautiful. I enjoy it so much. Having said that, I have someone that you definitely have to meet. You can tell he's very beautiful from the image. And we're going to talk to him today. We're going to get to know him. And it's going to be a great conversation recorded for you guys. And we ask that you watch it, share it with your friends, etc., etc. So without further ado, I would like to introduce all of you to Mr. Myles Spears.
Hey.
Hi,
nice
Myles.
to meet you virtually, of course. Hi.
Nice
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Listen, it's great to have you here.
I sound fine.
Yes.
I'm a little frazzled, you know.
Don't be frazzled. So I'm going to tell him how I met you. So the wonderful thing about the internet is that, I'm on all different platforms. So I saw this beautiful angel on Twitter and I was like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. And it's kind of crazy because I was talking to a friend of mine who is also my spiritual advisor. And I mentioned your name. He was like, well, who are you interviewing next? And I was like, Myles Spears. And he was like, oh, I know him. That's the pretty guy. He's really, he kept saying like, that guy is really, really pretty. Like, oh, I can't wait to see this conversation. So it made me even more excited. And then your engagement with me, it wasn't just like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. No, like we were in the DMs of Twitter, like, okay, when, see you in 10 minutes,
okay,
et cetera, et cetera. So it was just really great. And I'm really excited about this too, because I'm a beauty freak. You're beautiful, but we're going to get to that. Tell everybody what you do, because what I read is that you are a global citizen, a spiritual leader. You also do shows, like you have, I don't know if it's a podcast or a, something Gemini. So tell us about what you do.
Yes. Okay. Well, first I'm a Earth citizen, of course, I'm human before anything else, but my occupation is webcamming. I do webcam modeling, like now I get on the webcam and show my goods and things like that. And I'm a part of a web series called The Come Up Miami. It's pretty cool. So it's a web series, reality. I'm part of a podcast on the Armand Wiggins show called Boys Chat. So we do get into some topics there. It's a podcast vibe on the Armand Wiggins show channel on YouTube.
Wow. So you do a lot. What's your birth sign?
Cancer. That's the sun one.
You're a Cancerian.
Yes.
Well, I'm a Libra, but I love Cancer. I love Cancers. Especially Cancer men. Like you guys are so, like the hearts are just so flush. I like that.
I'm not too familiar with all the things. I don't want to judge people too much based off it, but I do like it. It is a nice guide to like kind of show you about life a little bit. I just choose to look over what are they called, the signs.
Yeah, well, get this.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of crazy because we lead with our sun signs, but actually if you study the zodiac and you study astrology throughout the day, each and every one of us cycles through every house in every
Oh
sign.
wow, I had
So
no
like at
idea.
3 o'clock, I could be a Gemini. At
Astrology.
4 o'clock, I could be a Cancer. At 5 o'clock, I could be a Sagittarius. Like
I
people don't understand that.
see.
It's just, you're right. It's just a little
I
guide.
didn't know that.
Gives you, yeah, it kind of gives you an inside look.
It's definitely an awesome tool.
Yeah, it is. It has definitely helped me. It has described my intentions and how driven I am, and it has helped me to understand me a lot. The one thing I don't like, and I'm trying to undo, is that it said that most Libras meet the love of their lives very young, and then there's something tragic happens, and then they're separated from them for the rest of their lives, and they live in a dream state. And that's
wow.
That's
what?
But get it.
That's wild stuff.
But get it. It happened to me.
Okay.
And I do live my life in kind of a dream state after that love. Yes. I tried to undo it, but there's no way to undo it, because it says we meet our soulmates and then we're separated.
Right.
So yeah.
Like a twin flame kind of vibe.
Yeah. I met him in college and it was great, but then he changed and I changed and we went on about our ways. He's married now with children.
Wow.
And I'm what am I? An entertainer, a mentor, a shaman, oracle. I'm doing a lot of stuff. So
nice.
my thing is, I'm happy for him, and I'm glad that he was able to find and move on with someone else. That was the thing, because like I said, I've never had a boyfriend. I loved him, but I've never had a boyfriend, and ever. And I turned 40 in September.
I can relate.
Yeah, so I've never had one. So cats are better, but that's okay. It's okay. So tell everybody where you're from. Where were you born? Where are you from?
Oh, me, I'm born and raised in the south of Florida, Miami and stuff like that. I love it here. Yeah, South Florida my whole life. I mean.
Wow, and you're so beautiful. So you're used to going out to the beach and things like that. Do you surf?
I do love the beach. No, I don't surf. I should get into that though one day. That looks fun and exciting. Definitely fits my vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because even when I look at your Twitter, you're just so gorgeous. Thanks. You're so gorgeous. Like it's just it's otherworldly. And that's I'm used to that. When I was 22 years old back in 2005, I voyaged to Paris as a model. I was a fashion model for about 6 months. Just 6 months of my life. And then life happened.
I can see that. You are pretty beautiful yourself.
Thank you. Yeah. But this has been a culmination of life and therapy and just all kinds of things to get to this point, to where I truly believe it's not even my face anymore, because that was the thing in fashion, your face. But I truly believe I'm just beaming with light now, because my insides have been fixed, like my insides in therapy, and those things have been put back into balance, and I've uncovered things about myself, being 40 in September. So anyways, are you an only child?
I was raised an only child till about the age of 10.
Okay.
So I think I was only child for the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
And then some siblings came along, and it wasn't until about, they were 4 years old till they really affected my life. They didn't really affect my life. So I kind of was raised as an only child. So
wow. But you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. Ooh, it has a lot of responsibility.
I was going to say, do you get that responsibility? You're the oldest.
Yes.
You can look out for.
Yes. I feel like it's all up to me. Yeah. But luckily they're growing fast. So
yeah, I am too.
They'll share some of the burden. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm the oldest on my mother's side, and I'm the middle child on my father's side. But I don't claim my father's child side. I've never really.
Right.
I've never really. No, my mother's side raised me, so that's who I claim.
I think it only matters. I think it only matters in the household you're raised in. It's like if you're a sibling, you're in another household. I'm still the only child. You don't really count.
It's like, what? Child? What's that?
Right. That's why I say raised as an only child, because technically I'm not an only child, but I was raised as one, and I know what that feeling is like. And if there's anyone who has the only child syndrome, I'm not saying I have it, but I could, because I was alone for 10 years.
Wow. That's something to be raised as an only child and then to have siblings. Some people welcome it. Some people are like, why? It varies. It varies. But so tell me,
Exactly.
did you, how old are you?
I'm 25. I'll be 26 in July. Well, of course.
You look so young.
Oh.
You look so
I'll
young. And,
take
and, and you're,
it.
yes, yes, and you're good. You're good. It's good. Black doesn't crack, child. I just,
No, good.
yeah, black doesn't crack. And then you're down there in all of that beautiful weather. And,
You have to wear my sunscreen.
unfortunately, I think there are storms going on. No, that's in the West. That's in the West. No, tornado.
Oh, okay.
That's in the West. That's like Oklahoma and stuff like Kansas and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you
West
guys
of the
don't get
U.S.
that. So tell me, what was it like to grow up as a Floridian and have the ocean right there at your feet? What was that like? Like what did your parents like? They take you to the ocean often? Did you learn to swim early? What was that like?
It was normal. I took it for granted until about the age of about hmm, 19 when I started smoking marijuana. And then one day I was smoking marijuana. I was like, it's not that I never liked Florida. I've always loved it here. It's warm. Anytime I go somewhere cold, I can't wait to come back. But I was smoking marijuana one day in my community where my mom and stepdad's community, and I was kind of like in this, I guess, alleyway, but it's a neighborhood with houses. It's kind of like a little alleyway between the houses, and I was just looking up, and I was like, wow, this is a really beautiful place. I love it here. I mean, it's so tropical. Like, look at the way that house is just structured and shaped. I mean, it's so Florida. Like, Florida's so awesome. So one day I just had this like, I started getting this love for Florida. Just like, wow, like this is pretty cool. Like this, other people they live in these landlocked states and things like that, and it was around that time when I started to go to the beach a lot as an adult. Because, yeah, we went to the beach, but it wasn't like, we're Hawaiians or something. We get a pineapple, we're on the beach, just tropical. We're living in Florida. We're driving down the highway. We're just trying to get to work. It's normal to us. It's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
So, yes, when I did become of age, I started going to the beach with my friend and we would hang out. And I really started to take in and appreciate Florida when I got older at the age of like 18, 19.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and what I love about Florida, and you said South Florida, so that's the South Beach area, right?
Yes, definitely.
So
Or Fort Lauderdale. Up
yeah.
to Palm Beach is considered South Florida, actually. So yeah, but yeah, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's a heavy LGBTQIAP plus community there.
There is. I mean, it is a major city. It
Yeah.
is a major city. Lots of people do want to be there. Keep
Yeah.
the Northerners out. I'm ready. Can we close the gates, please? I mean, all of them want to move here. I thought Florida was crazy. What's going on?
No, I'm
We
a
still have zombies and stuff. Don't come.
no, I'm a northerner. I gotta get down
You're Northerner. Close the
there.
gates.
Yeah. I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm
That's
landlocked.
what's
I mean, we
up.
do have the Atlantic Ocean right there, but it's not tropical. It's not, yeah.
I know what you mean.
How did you grow up? Like my thing is the only thing, and okay, this is out of context because I know that there are places like in Florida, but I watch a lot of animal shows. Like I'm a big
Okay.
nature buff. So I'm just like scared to go anywhere in Florida near the water because
Mm.
there are alligators.
Alligators, sharks, jellyfish.
and the Burmese python.
Oh, what's that? See, you watch the show, so you know.
Evil, like a big evil snake that bred with the other domestic python. And this thing has a temper on it and grows to 19 feet. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's serious.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
serious by Jacksonville. Are you serious? No,
Yeah, I
honestly,
mean,
it's in the
yeah,
Everglades.
yeah, I was gonna say, but that's in the Everglades. So,
Yeah, it's all swampy here.
oh my God.
Oof, I think the flies in
Ah,
my
did you
hand.
slap yourself? Mosquitoes, really?
Gnats, they're everywhere.
Oh my God. So what was that like? Was there a lot of precaution taken? Like, be careful the alligators.
No,
Mm.
no, there wasn't. Um, no, I think growing up in a kind of suburban area
Yeah.
or in a city area, you're not really thinking of alligators. It's not till you get out on a field trip or you kind of always known alligators were around, but no, there was no fear at all. Like if we were going into lakes and things like that instead of the beach, I'm sure there would be more conversation around alligator precaution. But we're going to the beach. If anything, look out for the jellyfish. Don't get your leg eaten off by a shark. You just
Yeah.
never know. I did get stung by a jellyfish once. I was stung.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was pretty painful. But I was younger. Yeah, just look out for that.
Yeah, at least it's not the box jellyfish from Australia, because then you got
Yeah.
yeah, you got
Mhm. I heard we got some man of wars down here now, which I hear is pretty lethal. I don't know.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. No, it's just so crazy to talk to people from other places. And I do. I talk to people from all over the world, Spain and Paris. And, it's
That's right.
so
That's right.
like I forget, not you, I forget sometimes how beautiful America can be. There's such a
Yes.
climate, a political climate here,
Mhm.
that we tend to forget how beautiful the country actually is. Just for a moment, the immediately people are like, oh, they stole it from indigenous people. Like, it just becomes
Right.
so,
So,
yes,
whew.
yes, it becomes so political, like politicized very quickly,
Mhm.
that we never just stop and look at beautiful places. I love tropical weather.
Me as
And
well.
yeah, like, but I've never been to Florida. I've been to Georgia.
You
Um,
never been to Florida?
oh,
Oh
and
my gosh, come through. Open the gates. Come on in. Like, what? It's awesome
I'm
here.
gonna get down there because, like, I've made friends. So I have friends and they like to travel. So I have to come out of my cave. This is my queendom. I gotta come out of my
Yes, I feel
cave,
you.
go, and me, I'm transvestite, so I'm a boy, but yeah.
Okay.
So I come out of this, and I think that people won't notice me, but I get noticed. That they're like, I know who you are. And
Ah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
but I'm gonna travel more. And my thing is, I'm one of those people where, because of Paris, I fell in love with Paris. So
Mm.
being there for the 6 months, so I want to live. Like, I want to leave. I want to live there. But
Mm.
like, yeah. But as my career and my company is growing, like, I was talking to my grandmother, who is like the end all be all authoritative source in my life.
Mm.
We were talking about the fact that she was like, you're going to need something here. You're going to need to live here. You're going to need to have property here, because I'm not just going to work in Europe. I'm being asked now
Okay.
to work here. So it's just like, okay. But yeah, I want to do
Yeah.
more
This
travel.
is your home.
Yeah.
You're American, right?
Yes, I never
Or are
forget.
you Caribbean
I'm
or African?
I'm American and
You're American.
of African descent, Mali.
Oh no, of
But
course.
but like,
Oh,
yeah, but
every
American for
black
the
person.
most part. Yeah, like, for the most
I
part.
mean, like generationally.
Yeah, generationally American.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But we
This is your country. You got to plant your roots here. I'm not Black American. I'm Jamaican. I'm learning these like differences. Like, there's a difference between a foundational Black American and then someone who just comes to this country. Like, this is your home. You better own it. What? This is your
Well,
beautiful
listen,
country.
we welcome
Y'all work
it.
okay.
But we welcome it, because look at you coming in here,
No,
and
I'm
you giving us
happy
something
to
to
be
look
here. I love.
about. Like, you giving us something to talk about, look about, talk to,
I love
fantasize about.
America.
Come on now, you like, don't negate how beautiful it
No,
is
I'm just
to have
saying, this is your
foreigners.
home, like your roots or whatever. But
So with you being Jamaican, but you grew up here, right?
oh yeah, I'm American,
Okay. Okay.
Jamaican American. But there's something special about being, generationally American. I think
No, it ain't.
not special, but it's like I think people kind of look down.
I
They
know it
don't
ain't.
acknowledge it
Yeah.
enough. I feel like it is a special culture, like the Black American culture.
Yeah.
I just think it gets like pooped on. Yeah.
You know what's so funny? For so many years, a lot of people were saying that American Blacks didn't have culture.
Exactly, and that's why I'm still like, what? But I
Yeah,
learned like they do have a whole culture. What are you
we
talking
do.
about?
We do.
Mhm.
And yes, it is a culture coming out of oppression, but there are still very beautiful things about the Black experience, the American Black experience.
Right.
Because I mean, we see it in our actors, we see it in our musicians, we see it,
Yeah.
they're discussing their experiences being a Black American. But I
Right.
would never negate a
The
Jamaican.
foundation of the country. No, of course not. But it's something to be acknowledged. They acknowledge Jamaicans all the time. And,
Yeah.
oh, Caribbean, I'm African.
Yeah. Do
Those
you get
things.
back to the islands much?
I it's throughout my life, yes, but not recently. The last time I was there, I believe, was my grandmother's funeral. That was like in seventh grade. But
Okay.
before that, I was going a lot. It's pretty consistent to
Yeah.
say, yeah, I've been in the islands a good amount of times. I have a lot of memories there. Lots of mangoes, yummy. I
Yeah.
love it there. And I'm amongst the citizens, so it's like not on vacation. I'm staying in my grandma's house, which was pretty nice. But I'm at my grandma's house. We're walking in the city. She's going to work. I'm staying in my aunt's house. I have my grandfather down there. Yeah, so shout out to Jamaica. It's pretty cool down there.
I like that. Would you say that being Jamaican American, would you say that it kind of structured you differently?
Yes, especially because my dad is also white.
Yeah.
So, if I had like a Black American dad or, if I had two Jamaican parents, I think it would still be the same kind of. It's just,
Okay.
I noticed there's just certain things that my foundational Black American friends knew about or learned about, or they had a certain experience.
Yeah.
And it was just different from my, like, I just didn't get taught certain things. It was just kind of like a different perspective. Like, we come here, we're trying to make a better life or whatever. Don't be like those lazy Black Americans. You know what I mean? No, like,
Yes,
and
that's
that's
true.
why I'm so
I
like,
know what you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
don't like that talk, but yeah, so I kind of I did have a different experience, like little things. It's like, oh, you never seen that movie, Miles? How could you never see that movie? Like, you're freaking Black. I'm like, I know I am Black, but shoot, it's just my mom never showed me that. She probably didn't know about it like that either, or maybe she did and just, I don't know. It just is
But you know what
different.
it is, and that's what I love about America, because that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would venture to say there are certain things about the Black experience that you were better off not learning. I come from, like I said, I'll be 40 in September. I started in the projects, and then my grandmother became a teacher, moved me to the suburbs. Then there was this whole idea of college, and then finding out that my parents, who were both in the ghetto, had mental illness. And here I am, like you said, I'm being taught, because I was in the suburbs since I was 10, up until the time I graduated high school, and then went immediately into college. So even in my family, with my uncles and aunts, there was a separation, because here I am speaking the way that I do here, and they're looking at me like, and that's just and that's just one generation above. And so, and I heard that, you talk white, you do this, you do that. And for so long, it kind of, and then it was the Black church in my life, and I didn't like that either, because they were ridiculing me for being who I was. I was effeminate then. So it was a bad thing. The men treated me very badly in church, and the women did as well. So I hated that we had to go from our safe suburban existence an hour to 45 minutes to an hour into the heart of the ghetto to go to church.
What?
Yes. And my thing was, I used to get so upset, because I'm like, I would say to my parents, you worked so hard for me to have a better education and even get the opportunity to go to college. Whereas my aunts and uncles, my uncle did, but for the others, they didn't. I got accepted to 4 colleges. I was that.
But that's where the family's at.
So I was like, why are we coming down here? And then I'm being systematically and psychologically and physically abused by the church experience. And all in all, I wouldn't be who I am without both experiences. So, but I do understand kind of being out of the loop, not necessarily, not necessarily knowing everything that goes on. I remember this.
What's Friday after next? I don't know.
Yeah. I remember this one time, my school, I went to Upper Moreland. It's a accredited blue ribbon school. It's really nice over here. And it's in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. And I remember we went on a field trip, and this was something that didn't happen in the inner city, the urban area, the urban environment. But we went on a trip, and they took us to Baltimore, Maryland. So yes, states away. So they took us there, and they took us to New York. But I think it was the New York trip. Oh, and my hair is in my mouth. I got to get it like Wendy.
Okay, exactly.
Doesn't matter. I had to get it. It would bother me. Okay, right? I'm like, listen. I had to get it. Listen. Over here. I ain't got nobody to say cut and get the hair. I got to get it myself.
Did she have anyone to say cut? Yes. I don't know. Anyway.
Let me tell you something on commercial break. On commercial break, yes, they make it sure Miss Wendy is right. Okay.
That's true.
Pays them to do that.
But she doesn't mind scratching a little itch. If she has to
or burping. But that's our Wendy, and shout out to Wendy. We love you and can't wait for you to return. But like, so get this, we turn around and we're going to New York. And I remember my classmates playing, and you might not even know these people because I'm dating myself here, I'm older. There was a group out called 112. And
Okay.
112, they were like an urban R&B group, and they were really, 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 really good, like really good. The music, it was like they were like a quartet,
Boys or
I
girls?
believe, boys,
Okay.
and they were like really good. And what happens is they had this song called Anywhere. And it was saying we could do it in the shower, we could do it like anywhere, was basically, yes, was basically the premise of the song, but it was so good. So get this, my classmates were like, Bjorn, listen to this, put these headphones on. So we're on the bus, and I like music. So I start listening to it, and the music comes on, and I'm feeling it. And then he's talking about, you hear him, all of that, and we could do it in the shower. And I threw the headphones, and everybody laughed at me because it wasn't my experience in my household, But those kids had more. But those kids had more freedom.
I know exactly what you're speaking of. I know that experience.
Yeah,
Yes.
those kids had more freedom. And honestly, I don't want to say this about the Black church, but it took me longer to mature. It took me way long. It was like my growth was kind of stunted. I was not allowed to learn about the things in the world. And it's kind of crazy because like I helped to raise my nephews, and my kind of parenting was I exposed them to everything because I did not want them to have that handicap. And then going to college and that whole experience, it fried my brain. But like my mother and my father, they had mental illness. So when I turned 19 in college, my second year, I was diagnosed, bipolar 1, PTSD, and acute anxiety because it was traumatic. The Black experience is tough.
Do you know if like it put you in like a fear vibration, or you felt like I'm going to hell? Because for me, that's what I thought. I was like,
listen.
And for a minute, I was just kind of like depressed about it.
Listen, I had some really rough years. Let's just say it like that. I was homeless a bunch of times. My family didn't support me. And then being sick and like mentally ill and having to depend on the kindness of strangers that you barely even knew. Thank God I never had to sleep with a man. Oh my God. Like I never had anybody do those things. So that was good. But everyone that took me in, they kind of saw something in me. And they said, like, you're special, you're going to be okay. I didn't feel that. I was very much stunted. My growth was stunted. And I don't think I matured. Like, I really don't think I matured until I was like 35.
Do you feel like, was it harder knowing your diagnosis or easier? Was it like, okay, now I know, so I could just kind of rationalize it, or it was easier not knowing?
It was terrifying and traumatic. I knew my diagnosis and I ran from it. I would, and that was the thing. I didn't know that things in life, because bipolar disorder is set up with the 5 senses. What you touch, taste, see, hear, and smell, it's the 5 senses. So if I say I'm looking at my brush here and it's blue, this color blue could transport me back to a time when somebody threw a blue shoe at me. And then I could have an actual physical reaction based on seeing this, or like colors, like it could be anything. Someone could walk past me and I could smell their fragrance and it reminds me of one of my abusers. Yeah. But get this, I've had 15 years of therapy, so I've learned that it didn't cure me, but I received the tools needed to be able to, when I have that flashback, say to myself, Bjorn, you're not there. You're gone from this environment. You're safe. You don't have to worry. Your life moved on. You moved on. Like I have to, like, it's a lot, like, and that's the thing. People don't really talk about mental illness or mental health as much as we should, but it's incapacitating. You can't live your life. You can't unless you get that kind of help. And I ran for a number of years. I want to say about 10 years. And what I would do is I would burn out because I had very physical reactions. So I would it was kind of like my mind would be on autopilot and then my body would just do whatever. So I could see it, but I was powerless to stop it. And I just thank God that nobody ever like raped me or anything because I was so vulnerable. But I got in trouble with the police. Like I got in trouble with the police. There were just so many things. And my grandmother was the one that jumped to my defense and my aid and said, listen, he's not himself right now. He's not himself right now. So then I'd go into the hospitals. And back then, it's harder in Pennsylvania to do this now, but they would 302 me. So they would force me to stay in the hospital 30 days. I don't think I ever stayed more than 30 days. I don't think I needed the 60 or the 90-day hold. I needed the 30-day hold.
You said a 30-day.
Yes. So what they would do is they would get me in there and then they had to get me to sleep. They had to get me to eat. I wouldn't do that. I used to be really, really emaciated. And I hold on to that thought for a second. Okay. And then I would come down. And then my thing is the medication would bring me down slowly. And then I'd be all right. And then I'd leave the hospital. But because I did not have the education as to what I was dealing with, what the medication did, how it would affect my life, I'd go until I felt better outside the hospital and stop taking the medication.
Ooh.
Yeah. So what did I tell you to hold on to? There was a point I wanted to.
Emaciated.
Okay, so get this. Like I said, what you taste, what you see, what you smell, what you hear, what you touch. When I was about 5 years old and 5 or 6, and my mother started doing drugs, there was no food in the house. And what happens is I would go to school and I would steal lunches for my siblings. I have 3 siblings on my mother's side to eat food. And get this, I was emaciated and I almost died of malnutrition. My grandmother had to step in. But
Are you serious?
But look at
this. That's crazy.
I know, but look at this. All the way as an adult being sick, I would refuse food. It was something that happened. I would literally, because of the pain never being dealt with, I would go back to that emaciated little boy.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why you have to be able to walk back through your life and literally deal with everything. And honestly, in the Black experience, who has time to do that? We have to feed ourselves. We have to clothe ourselves. We have to work. We have to take care of our children. We have to live. We don't have time to sit on somebody's couch and actually get it right.
Right.
But there is hope. There is, because my grandmother stepped in again and she allowed me, I came out of the workforce, put my career on hold, put my 9-to-5 on hold, and actually spent 15 years getting to know what I had and how to live and how to be, and the strength that came out of it is what forged this brand. Now you're new to me, but for 6 years, I gave these empowerment videos that were 60 seconds long to Instagram. And I always talked about being what I'm saying to you to stay back on target is some things about the Black experience. Something. Okay, we're back.
There we are. We're back.
We're back. It froze. But what I was saying was some things about the Black experience, it's good that you don't know, because what people don't understand about the American Black experience is it's entirely pain. It's entirely pain. And then you have what we call the Black conservatives, whose parents work together or families work together and they got money, but they moved so far away from the Black experience because they didn't want their children fighting or doing drugs or selling drugs or being influenced negatively by the rest of the community. So now they're so far away from it. They're still Black, and they still do, great things. They know Friday after next. They know these things. But what I'm saying is they recognize that they have to move away in order to have a quality of life better than what they're coming out of as a family, and I always commended those people whom, did not have to live in the hood, did not have to come, in the hood, because every rapper, every singer out here is talking about getting out of the hood. All of our entertainers, our rappers are talking about leaving the hood and never coming back. That's like the dream. The dream is, Mama, I've made it when I can buy you a house and we no longer have to live in the hood. That's what we're we're all working for. And, it's so sad because I said this in an interview the other day. I said, isn't it sad that so many young Black people don't understand what fame really does to them? and what fame really is and the requirements of fame because of the investments into their career. It's like they don't really understand that for Black people, we want to become rich and famous so that we can do normal things, pay our bills, not have to live where the hood is. You know, it's a lot of things. And, you know, so I'm actually glad that you get, and it's not, I'm not saying that you had to have a privileged life, because life is hard everywhere. But there are
It's
just
always conflict.
yes, but there are just some things that I'm glad that you weren't, you know, shown or used to, or, you know, experienced or subjected to, because it kind of makes for less trauma.
Yes, and I'm very grateful, you know, and appreciative. And sometimes people they want to be like, "Oh, I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood." You know, talk it up. It's like a cool thing,
Yeah,
but I appreciate where I come from. You know, I'm
yeah,
not rich or anything like that, but
yeah,
you know, it's a
yeah.
situation. You know.
Yeah, it really is. And that's kind of funny that we're talking about two different experiences. But, and then I was able to have both. Like that was the thing. My
Yes.
grandmother afforded me the second,
Yes.
you know, so I'm very thankful to her. Like I'm very grateful to her because, you know, a lot of people that are in the hood, they don't see a way out.
Right.
And they're not super duper crazy, insanely talented. You know, it's like, you know,
Right.
and this is another thing too, and I say this, like, I've been celibate for 10 years.
Wow.
The only reason I did that was to focus on my career, because I am a
Okay.
very sexually driven person. I need that, like I'm that way. So what I did was something called transmutation. I took all of that high
Mm.
hypersexuality and put it into my work. So you know about this.
I do know about this.
Someone's got a great education. Yeah, see, but see, that's the thing, because education is elevation, like
Yes,
Conscious Lee
absolutely.
says. You know, so shout out to Conscious Lee. It's true. You educate yourself and you become. So turn around and,
Amazing.
you know, some things are just, it's just good that you didn't know. Like it's just,
Yeah.
you know. So back to you. Like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do inside besides listen to this queen tell you about the hood?
Well, I do enjoy it. Your voice is very soothing, by the way, mine is. Yes. Um, Hobbies for me, whew, I need to get some more. I love the beach. I, I go to the beach once a week. I used to go a lot more, but you know,
Yeah.
skin damage. And the thing is, black people don't age with wrinkles, but they age with hyperpigmentation. So that's a
Yes.
constant journey. You know, you gotta use some people don't use sun protection, but I personally like to use sun protection.
Yeah.
But I love the beach. I like going to the movies. I sound so basic.
No, it's not basic.
You know,
No,
I like
it's a
the
life.
movies. Yeah, and I like to chill. I like to be to myself. Like this is my little kingdom too. I
Yeah.
like to just be in my space, and I do appreciate seeing my friends here and there. But you know, when you feel your energy battery is draining, and I like to be by myself most of the time.
Me too. Me too.
Hobbies. I need to get some hobbies. Maybe go to the shooting range. I want that to be a hobby for some reason.
Yes. I want
Like,
that to be a
like
hobby
a
too.
fighting, you know, some fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool hobby. You know, something like something to make like become more. I don't know, become a better man or something like that. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely like to get more hobbies. Do you have any hobbies?
You know what's so crazy? My hobbies, listen to me. I am a workaholic.
Ooh,
I
that's
am,
not a hobby.
I am a
It
workaholic.
could be.
So let me think.
Could be a hobby.
I do. It's part of my job now, and I was blessed to be able to do that, because what I
Hmm.
did was I made my hobbies my job. So that's like with this and stuff like that, I was able to make it my job. But one of my biggest hobbies, and I'm sure you will see as you go, because you don't really know much about me, but as you
I
go,
know it enough so far. You know, I've looked you up, of course. Like I see your
okay,
Instagram and things like
okay,
that. You know what I mean?
okay,
I did
so
watch an interview or two. It's
okay,
awesome.
so I make music, I
Oh,
sing, yeah, and then I
is
shoot.
that you in the intro?
Yes,
Okay, okay, that's what's
that's
up. I
me.
like
That's me.
that.
I wrote it. That's me. I sang it. Yeah, I'm a mezzo soprano. Not bad for
Uh,
40, huh? Not bad for
not
40.
bad at all.
But
It's just 40. I'm 25.
that's
TikTok is not that far.
listen. That's okay. That's okay. I think
Mhm.
one of the things, and I've made it my business as well. One of the things that I enjoy doing the most is finding and showcasing beautiful Black and Latin men. That is like, it's like a seek and find to me. I find them in all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all creeds. And I love doing this because then it's like, I have a following. So then they start watching and my content gets even more valuable as I continue to move up the ladder. And I've been in this business for 20 years, mind you. But yeah, like I love pouring into my Black and Latin men, my melanated men, the idea that they are truly beautiful, that they truly matter, that they are not just here to work a job. They are here to live life and to love life and to experience life on all levels. And
Yes.
that's why I have so many men that are LGBT, and then I have so many that are straight. I have so many that are questioning. I attract men because it's just, I make myself available to support them, to build
Nice.
them, to help them. And, people don't understand that when you help someone else, you get helped in the process. And that's been the story of my career. I love showcasing. Like if you go to Instagram, handle for everybody watching is I am the Queen of Shade. So you go there and you'll like, I started deleting stuff, but then I stopped because I was like, the guys need to stay, because I don't use it as much. But like if you scroll down mid through, because there's 22,000 plus posts. Like I told you I'm a workaholic.
Right.
So, but you start to see the beautiful men that I've collected and gotten to know, and many of them have done interviews. Yeah,
Collected.
yeah. I'm a collector. Yeah, I'm a collector. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm right now. I'm putting my claws in you.
Okay, I'll take all the love and energy I can get.
Right now, I'm associating you with my brand. I'm bringing you in.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that so
yeah.
much.
I'm bringing you in. So that's really what my hobby is to give back.
Wow.
And it's not even give back like I'm an authority. No, it's like I did this video on TikTok and I started to cry a little bit because I was just like, I love Black and Latin men. I love showcasing them. I love, letting them know that they matter. I love letting them know that work is not the only thing that they were meant to do here.
Okay.
Because people automatically, the first thing
I
they look at
realized
a Black
that.
man, like the first, because even we were talking about it earlier, the first thing people look at a Black man and says, oh, he's not working hard enough. So then
Right.
this man kills himself for 30, 40 years for a half a piece of a pension and has not experienced life, traveled, seen the world, and
Sometimes they'll literally kill themselves because maybe they lose a job or something, and it's like, whoa, what else am I good for?
yeah. And honestly, I've seen that. I've seen that recently. It's like and that's another thing that I don't like is that their jobs are so important. Like if they lose their job, there's no savings, there's no, IRA, there's no, funds, CDs in the bank and stuff like that. So part of my push is not to give all my money away, but to
No.
do this and to foster conversations where we all talk about our lives. And I want to segue right there. I want you to tell me about your dad. Tell me about how it was like having a dad, being biracial, if that is the term. Is that the term? Is that what you go
Yeah,
by?
that's a term. That's a term
Okay.
people use.
Okay.
Definitely. Hmm. I love my dad so much. He's so intense. Like he's cool. He's chill. He's a little crazy. He's a little intense. I say that in a good way. Like he doesn't take any mess. Uh, I feel as though having a white father empowered me in a certain way that other people don't experience, and it's
Yes.
like this is my world.
Yes.
That's so awful to say, but it's like that kind of feeling. It's kind of like a vibe. Like my dad, he told me this day, and he said once you stop working, he said, remember, Myles, once you stop working, you'll never stop. So basically stay in school as long as you can. But I took that as, shoot, well, I better find something I like to do, and be a free person and be a Earth citizen first, of course. But having a white father, it gave me an awesome experience.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful, honestly, that I had a white father. Not that I would be mad if I had a black father. It's just compared to all my other friends, I've always had a different perspective. I've always been able to have like a few perspectives in my brain. I feel as though and I'm able to open my mind to things that people normally wouldn't open their mind to, like trying to understand Republicans and things like that, and etc. You know, my mom being whatever she is, but my dad being Republican or
Yeah.
conservative.
Yeah.
I remember when I found that out, I was like, wait, what? And mind you,
There's a
I'm
fight in
young.
the house. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I was like, wait, we're not supposed to like Obama? Like, what's going on here? I mean, everyone loves Obama, Dad. What's the big deal? So we're not voting for Obama?
yeah.
You know, what's going on here? I was like in middle school. He's like, oh no, I mean, we never talked about it, of course, but he's like, yeah, I'm a Republican. I was like, oh really? Like, it was just interesting to me. And of course, I'm not gonna curse my dad. I don't even know the whole picture.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone's telling me vote for Obama, but he's over here like, okay, I'm gonna vote for whoever was McCain or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just it made me more open to hearing other perspectives. But honestly, yeah, there's a lot I could say. It's just too much to even pinpoint. But I wouldn't change the experience for anything. I love it. It was awesome, and I feel lucky to have him as my dad. Really,
Yeah. You
not
know,
because he was rich or anything like that, but he just had a different perspective on the world versus a Black American experience. Like you said, it's just a different perspective.
I
You
love
know, I'm
how
black already. Sorry. I'm black already, so I don't have to be double negative. You know what I mean?
but I
Like
love
I can
how
be
you said that. You're like, we're not rich. Don't find me. Like, we're not,
right. Yeah, we're not rich
I'm
enough
used to
for
that.
this
I'm
type
used to
of
that from my
perspective.
friends in the suburbs. Like, we're not rich. Don't.
Oh my gosh. Well, honestly, whether it's good or bad, white people have this sense of entitlement.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Yes.
So that's kind
They don't
of
even realize it though. So
they don't realize. Yeah, it's the world we're living in.
yeah.
They have this sense of entitlement thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it rubbed off on me. I identify as black,
Yeah.
really. I mean, first and foremost. So
Yeah.
to me, it rubbed off on me. I'm gonna use it for good.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens. Like, and that's the thing. Like in this beautiful country of America, you can cross political party. You can be a Democrat who marries a Republican. Like that is what we should be celebrating.
Yes.
Everybody's running to their respective corners, and it's like, no, we should celebrate that a Democratic woman or man can marry a Republican opposite. And it's like, so then I believe that the because of that, I'm seeing a more well-rounded, a more informed young man in front of me right now, because your house wasn't divided. It was like, I'm Republican, but I love the hell out of you. You're my son and you'll always be, you know?
Deep love, like, what?
Do you know, like, honestly, do you know what kind of fight would happen in my house? Not here, but I'm saying in my family. If one of my family members said I voted for Trump,
Ooh, I can imagine. I know the fight because
we would disown. Wait a minute. After we beat their ass, we would disown them. We would disown them. Like, and you don't understand the struggle. You don't understand the struggle. Like, it's a really hot button topic. It's a real hot button topic in this country, but it shouldn't be.
Not to the point where you're throwing someone out the village. You know, your fellow person, fellow village man. Like,
I love that idea though, because it's like, I may be this, I may be this, I may be that, but look at me, I'm a heart, I'm human. I'm human.
And that's why I say human first, you know, before I mention my webcam or anything.
Yeah. Because I do the same thing.
I'm Republican or vegan, I'm nothing.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's like I'm a human being. Whatever my persona is, I just feel comfortable doing this. I have a very feminine body and face. So, and then going to Paris, they were like, you need to be doing the women's shows. That's where I first heard it, in fashion. So it took me a long time because of the brainwashing of my family to accept to put on a wig. It took me a long time because they were telling me to put on a wig in 2005.
They said do women's shows.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, they wanted me to walk the women's shows. Yeah, I've walked that way naturally all my life. And those things got me ridiculed and bullied and beaten up all my life. But I was very much a swan. I was very much a swan my whole life. So, even now people are like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that, and you don't look 40. It's because I had what it took to actually be a fashion model. You do too, but it's just, like I had, and this is, and I love it because it's not just, oh, well, he's biracial, so that's why he could be a model. No, we're both Black and we've had two different experiences, and we're both beautiful and we could both do it. So
and that's why I say you're beautiful too. I saw your crying video with no makeup on. I was like,
oh
wow.
no, you saw that video?
Yes, I did see it. It was one of the newer videos, I think.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Like
I can say he, right?
Yeah, he. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, get this. I do, like, my pronouns are all of them. Yeah,
right.
like,
Exactly.
I hate that. Like listen, I do she, like when I'm dressed like this, like it's easy. It doesn't matter if I'm out of this. I tell people, call me queen. It's my trademark.
Yes.
I paid the $2,000. I keep paying the extra fees. I'm like, look here, just call me queen. I don't care. Like, just call me queen. And then that's what they do for the brand's sake. But yeah, child, I feel like I'm about to choke on my hair.
Okay, get it out.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Good.
Yes, I got it. Ooh, that felt so good. It was coming out. It was going down my throat.
Oh, no.
It grabbed it. I'm like, yes. Oh my God, freedom. No, but seriously, like, what I was going to say is that I know a young man who he's actually one of my mentees, because I offer mentoring, paid service, mind you. So anybody watching, book me, and I ain't cheap. But the service you get will be phenomenal. So he's one of my mentees, and he's in a biracial relationship, or an interracial, let's say interracial relationship. And get this, he said something, because in our talks with each other, and he wouldn't be mad, I'm not sharing his business, but we talked about, he said that it was very hard for him to date people of the Black experience, even though he was Black, because he couldn't deal. Listen to this. This is a whole nother thing. Okay. He said he couldn't deal with the trauma on trauma. They had been through the same traumas, had the same triggers. Like, he said that his husband now, grew up in a small town. They were poor, all kinds of stuff, but he was Caucasian. So he said that he had traumas, but the traumas of his husband were different from his traumas. And that made the relationship work, because they could be there for each other in different ways, as opposed to two men, being Caucasian or being African-American, that are same struggles, same fights, same this. He said it's just trauma on trauma. And especially because, let's just face this, a lot of African-Americans don't believe in therapy. They don't believe in the cure. They don't believe that there is a cure. And the cure is actually talking about it. That's the cure. Something that's so simple, but it is complex to do. But it starts with I'm here for this. You sit down with a professional and you are guided through your own life. I've never gone into a therapy session where I talked about my therapist. My therapists have never really offered anything about themselves, because they didn't have to. They didn't have to. I was there for me. So what I would do, and they always said this, all my therapists, because I've had a number of them over my 15 years of treatment, they said, oh, Bjorn, you never like had that awkward get to know me stage. And I flat out said to them, because I'm not here to get to know you. Right. I'm here to get to know me. So literally, I didn't make them pull teeth to see if I liked them. Me liking them wasn't a part of the equation. I would go in and she would be like, hey, my name is Cindy. I'm your new therapist. Okay, Cindy, I'm gonna lay down here. This is where we left off. I'm like, last week I was talking about X, Y, and Z, and I put my feet up and be like, and this week, and continue. Let's get to work. And they would be like, and you would see it on their faces, and at the end they would be like, I feel like I've been talking to you forever. I said, yeah, because I'm talking to me. Exactly. I'm talking to me.
Doing it the right way.
Yeah, like that.
So trying to get the therapist therapy.
Like, I've seen people in my family go to therapy and they don't want to open up, and they sit there for the whole hour. They sit there the whole hour and say nothing, because they think these people are against them. Or they tell me, oh, I need a Black therapist. It don't matter. Listen, I've had Asian, I've had black, I've had white, like I've had Indian, Hindi. I've had all types of therapists. I don't give one fuck. That's not what I was there for.
Exactly.
I was there to talk about my life. And
Right.
that's exactly what I've done for 15 years. Like, it's so funny because my therapist now, she's Asian, and she said to me, she's like, listen, next week is because I have therapy home because of COVID. I have it every Monday morning. So she was like, I'm going to call you, but that's the last time I'll be here for like a month or two. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen next. And, you know, I'm going to introduce you to who's going to take over while I'm gone. And I was like, okay, fine. She knows I don't, listen,
not tripping.
I don't care.
They have a job to do, and you understand that, like, okay,
you went to school. This is what your degree is in, honey. It's all the same for everybody. Get on in here.
You're just the best stuff.
Listen, and we get into it. You should see my folder. My therapy folder is like that thick.
See, I can imagine. I just been years.
Yeah, it's 15 years, and I've talked about everything. Get this.
Awesome.
This is something that also exists in the Black community. Deeper, I want to say urban, not Black. Urban communities, poverty-stricken communities. I had severe survivor's guilt. I felt sorry that I was the only one that got out, because I came from a house of 4 siblings where I don't talk to my 3 siblings. We're all over 30, and we're not connected. Our lives went in so many different ways. We don't even speak, and we came out of the same womb. We grew up in the same house, and they've got mental illness and there are things going on, and we do not talk to each other. 4 siblings that just do not speak at all. My brother was my last one. I loved him, and I still love him, but I allowed my love to blind me to what he really needed. He needed therapy, and he wouldn't go. And I wasn't trying to make that a prerequisite for him to stay with me. I kind of just kept saying, well, his father, because we have different fathers, his father died, give him some time. I gave him a full year. And then, you know, my grandmother's here with me, and she was scared the whole time.
And this is the brother with schizophrenia?
Yes. And this thing, unmedicated, untreated, it was a nightmare in this house. Wow. And I worked through it. No one knew until I came out after it was over and showed the scars from the fights and it was really bad. Right now, I have a restraining order against him for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Exactly. And what I love your reaction, because people get to see it. Like, we're both Black people, not from the same experience. And that is good. You know, they get to see this one side of the track, the other side of the track. So this is really good.
Oh, he was diagnosed.
Yes, he's diagnosed.
He was diagnosed officially.
Get this. He's diagnosed. He was in the Army. So imagine me fighting an Army man on the floor of my bathroom.
Are you
and he's strangling.
A real fight?
I almost died.
How'd you get out of that? Like, he just stopped?
Because he was a little thinner and I'm a little heavier, being almost 40. I think I weigh 168 pounds to his 156, 157. And that actually allowed me to stand up because I was on the floor and he was wrapped around me, like going. I started getting dizzy and going and everything. And literally I was like praying in my head. Because I
apologized?
No.
So you just like, look, we just can't.
Yeah, the police came and removed him. And that was the last time I saw him. But get this, it's crazy because, and get this, what I'm talking about doesn't even really too much happen in the Black community in the urban side. Most families get along. It's just my family was this is an isolated incident. But when they drove him away, I knew that was the last time I see him ever on this side of life, ever again. I knew.
Oh my gosh.
I knew. Yeah. And but then it's kind of like what it was. And I later heard from other people, he was jealous that I had gotten the help. He was jealous that I had therapy. He was jealous that I was able to work and not have to go and beat the pavement and have this beautiful brand and supporters that cash at me, that send me things, that, you know, like that take care of my well-being. He was jealous of all of that. And my brother had never called me the F word, the derogatory gay F word. And literally, I wasn't trying to fight him. But what happens was he was angry with my grandmother. And he wanted to go after my grandmother. And I got in the way. He did not want to fight me, but I had to, yeah, my
You
70,
wanted to fight your grandmother?
yes, my
Oh no, you
75-year-old
gotta go sit
grandmother.
down.
So I had to listen, I had to whoop that ass.
Right.
And I had scars and he bit me and all kind. Yeah, it was traumatic. And they took pictures at the courthouse and it was a traumatic experience. I talked about it for 3 hours on
Oh,
here. But what
that's
I'm saying,
wild.
but yeah, it's but this is the thing.
Oh my God,
Even
you said that happened in March?
yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But this is the thing, like I said all of that to say that for years, because of the way we experienced the Black experience,
Mhm.
I had survivor's guilt. I got the help. I got out. My life, which seemed derailed in college, I was able to get back on track and go for the gold. Whereas most people never have a second chance or an option to do that. I mean, my family was upset. I don't even talk to most of my family. I talked to my grandmother and 2 nephews. That's it.
Wow.
Mhm. Because they can't be around this. This is
Are
the
you
brand.
serious?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still on that?
But you know what? I love
They're
your
still on that? My parents got over that.
listen. But I love your reaction because they get to see your honest reaction. You're like, I could never think of not talking to my siblings.
Right.
Like, are you crazy?
My
Yeah.
mom tried that. Oh, you're gonna be gay? Well, I don't know. Wait, you're not gonna see me on Christmas. I don't know. I'm not even gonna know you. Basically, the energy was like, I'm not gonna know you when you're gay and an adult.
Right.
That changed real quick. It only took about 3 months for me to be on my own, and she's seeing I'm moving quite fine without her. And,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my son. That's after like doing nude stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always shocking when not shocking, but it's like it's annoying and kind of sucky. It's like people are still on that.
Yeah.
Like you gotta get over that if you want people in your life. But I guess some people are just so stuck in their ways.
You know what it is? And
Proud of my mom for that.
I'm getting ready to drop a really big bomb. You know what it is?
Mm.
Even my siblings in the house with me, we were competitors
Ooh, are you
for the
kidding me?
resources, for the
Wait,
help
what?
that was available. It was only a minimal amount of help available, and one of us had to get it. It couldn't be all of us.
Wow. And what do
And
you mean
at
by that?
first, that
I mean,
trauma
I hear what you mean.
that traumatized me. But look at this. Look at the entertainment industry and what they do to Blacks. Competitors. There can only be one on top. It's the same process. So what are you hearing? This process that was bred into us is now in our homes. We're doing it to
Right.
each other. We're doing it to each other.
That's crazy. The competitors with your siblings.
Yes. So my family, my siblings detest me because
Mm.
I was the one that rose to sweep the pool. she
Ooh.
couldn't she couldn't my grandma listen, my grandmother was a teacher, but she was very savvy with money. She about 6 years ago, she wrote me a check for 6 figures, and that bankrolled
Mm.
my company and my ability to do this.
Wow.
That she didn't do that for everybody. Now she gave money over the time, but she couldn't afford to do that for everybody. Do you
Like,
see?
look, this is our best
Yeah.
horse in the race.
Yeah. It's oh, you said it. You said it. That's the truth. This is our best horse. Do you know how many young Black men are running now for track and field and going to the NFL and going to the NBA, and they're the best horse in the race
Yep.
for their family?
Yep. Yep. They wanted to be that.
This is the systematic system and
That's
abuse.
crazy.
It is crazy, Myles.
Mhm.
It is crazy. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because it went a whole different way. Because I believe that the divine spearheads conversations, what people need to hear. But that's the thing. I don't want to be in competition with my own. I was in competition with my uncles and aunts. They weren't done growing up yet.
Wow.
My one uncle, I'm not in competition with him, but he still sees me as competition.
Right.
Be,
Right.
because there were limited resources. All of us couldn't be saved.
Wow.
All of us couldn't be saved.
And is that just a perspective thing, like that people have, because you guys could be saved, but or was it just like a,
Get this. It's not just a perspective.
okay.
He didn't have enough money to
Wow.
go around. All of us could not.
I see what you're saying. So it's a real thing.
It was a real thing. And then I had years and years of crying in therapy because I'm the queen.
Well,
I'm
you
the one.
really have that survivor skill. I get it. So
Yes.
I hear what you're saying.
But get this,
Yes.
my therapist always dispels that when I get into that cycle of survivor's guilt. She says to me, they could have tried, but your resiliency, I bounce back. I've had so many lives. I have a song out called 9 Lives because it says it says I've got 9 lives, one for every time that I lose it. When things get rough and I say I can't do this, something deep inside says, come on, give it one more try. Don't you know you have 9 lives? That's been the story of my life. I've had to keep, my grandmother calls me the phoenix, bursting into flames, being reborn, bursting into flames, being reborn. And this time I grew up and I'm not bursting into flames. I'm on fire. This time I'm staying.
Yep.
And then the sad thing is I had to realize I couldn't take all of my family into my success. I couldn't be responsible for a shitload of houses, a shitload of cars.
Realistic. And that's not fair. I mean, it's not sovereignty. It's not, you made it, you did it.
Listen, what I'm describing.
I know grandma helped too, but shoot, they got 2 legs and arms.
Listen, what I'm describing to you, and the sad thing is, this is common in the Black community, but they weren't suited, didn't have the right mentality, didn't have the stick-to-itiveness. I have family members that their idea was, oh, it's the weekend. I earned myself this. I earned myself that. So they go and rent a car for the weekend. Not try to buy one, show off and live that glamorous life for 48 hours. Me, I remember when I first started because I've worked I was a phone sex agent, a female phone sex agent for this company. I worked it 2 years. We were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I worked every holiday, every day. Like they literally would give us days off and they could call me in because I had no life. My work was my life. Right. So, and the thing is, I worked like that on several jobs in my life. So when it came time for me to work for myself, I had the work ethic. It's been 6 years. I haven't really left this room. I do everything. I go out to the supermarket and the doctors. Look at the determination.
Yes.
And my family, I'm not gonna lie, they hate me for it. For so long, it was, oh, well, you're not making any real money yet. And I'm like, don't you know you got to do the work first before you can reap the reward or get paid? Tell me a job. Show me a job that pays you 2 weeks in advance that you could and then you go work.
Right.
You have to do the work first. And I'm still working. Even these interviews are new. This is a new facet of me. I've never done this before. And they're amazing because we're having real conversations. This is not fluff. This is not fodder. This is reality.
Exactly.
We are sharing with each other. And people are getting their lives. And I've had people reach out to me, Hollywood, all kinds of stuff happening. And I'm just like, bring it on.
Right.
Bring it on. Right. I'm not limiting myself anymore because I used to make myself small so that my family wouldn't feel like I was taking up get it. My whole life, they told me I was selfish. My whole life. Yeah, get it. So listen to the systematic abuse. They knew I was the best horse in the race. So they worked on my mind. You're selfish. You're not giving. You're such a prima donna. And then today nope. Get this. And then today I'm a queen.
Exactly. They just have to, and they're not part of it.
They've never been part of it. My grandmother gets mad when they say things to her like, you're still funding him. You're still taking care of him. You don't need to be taking care of anybody. And she looks at me and says, don't they know what you do?
Right.
My grandmother is downstairs now. I cook her meals. I take care of her.
Oh, shit.
I do so much.
That's amazing.
And it's just me and her.
So your grandma's there and you don't see any family, so they're not coming to see her.
No, they're not coming to see her because I'm here. They're angry. They're angry. Isn't it? But I love your reaction. But I love your reaction
Excuse me.
because you
Your
can't.
mom's alive?
Yes.
Your dad? Your
Yes.
father? They
My
don't
mother,
want to
my
see you?
mother did drugs for 25 years of her life. A couple of years
Okay.
ago, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, she had a stroke. She's in an assisted living
Mhm.
home. My father
Okay.
has mental illness. I don't know where he is. I don't care. Because my father tried to fight me in the street when I went to go visit him because
Oof.
he said, why won't you just tell me that you're gay? And me being a smart wordsmith, I said, why do I have to tell you? I said, why do I have to tell you something you already know? And he got
Right.
angry. He got angry.
They can't handle it. You gotta cut the cord with them. Like they're
Yeah.
good.
So
Yep.
that's what I've been doing.
Mhm.
Literally, my own siblings,
That's a shame.
I just cut
I,
the cord.
wow.
But honestly, what I'm saying to you is the sadly what's going on in a lot of Black houses. You got a lot of mamas, and get this, not even mamas. You got a lot of girlfriends working 2 or 3 jobs, like Jasmine Sullivan said, so that their men can make mixtapes. He gonna get signed. He gonna get this. He gonna get that.
Acrimony.
And then
Ooh.
find out the money ain't all it's cracked up to be. You signed your life away.
Right.
You got to live on this for the rest of your life. I own all of my masters.
Hmm.
I own every single piece of intellectual content I've ever created. And I can put it out year after year after year and reap revenue from it.
Exactly.
Nobody taught me that. I got in this room searching for answers on this computer. I bought books. I talked to people. This is me without a college degree. I didn't major in business, but I have one. And
Exactly.
people work for me. And the crazy thing is, I've had everybody that's ever worked for me or subcontracted labor, everyone has a degree but me.
Wow.
Everyone but me. And that's okay. And for a long time, it wasn't. I felt so
For you.
I felt so stupid
Hmm.
because I was like, you missed your opportunity for higher education. And my grandmother would say to me, baby, you didn't leave school. You didn't drop out. You were medically withdrawn. They medically withdrew you from college. You were not
Hmm.
well. And it took
I'm
you,
glad she clarified that.
yeah. And she's like, and it took you
Yeah.
15 years to get the handle on that. And one thing my grandmother says to me, now listen to this. She says, I helped you because I believed in you, but I also helped you because the rest of your family laughed at you when you were sick. They made fun
What the
of me.
heck?
They made fun of me while I was sick. They laughed and talked about how crazy I was.
This is crazy. Your grandmother's amazing. Like I can't believe she's part of that family.
Yeah,
Because
but yeah,
she came before them, so you
yeah,
would think they're a little less.
get
What
it.
they call it, ignorant.
That's why she
I
will
don't know.
go. That's why my grandmother will tour this world with me. She's
Exactly.
safer. She's safer with me. She will stay with me.
Period.
I will take care of her because all of my life she took care of me. I am
Yeah.
sitting here right now. And we get it. We had a business together. We fell out, differences of opinion, but we got back together. We got back together. I said to her, I said, we can't work together. She said, you're right. Dissolve that. I started my own. And get it.
Right.
Now she's in the advisory capacity.
Yeah.
But she's smart as ever. She's got a master's degree. So I said to her, I said, so listen, I said to her, I said, so for the last 15 years, you do realize I've been being tutored by a teacher with a master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
College is only 4 years. I've gone 15.
That's true. Good point. Good point.
15.
Oh wow.
Everybody in my life. Yeah.
It's impressive.
There's no degree they could give me now. I exceed all of them. They're only 4-year degrees. Baby, I got way more than 4 years. Triple. Like, are you crazy?
Exactly.
And it took me a long time to accept that. I used to, because I felt like my life was just derailed, I used to see my classmates at home and I would burst into tears because I felt like I had failed. I felt like I had failed. And they all had their degrees and they were living their lives. But my grandmother said to me, you had to go a different way. And baby, you're not living a normal life. You're a star.
Exactly. Oof. What? She said
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
She's awesome.
My grandma is something. Yeah, my grandma is something. Yeah, she's something. But she
That's
put that into
wonderful.
me. She put that into me. She told me, you don't have to go to Hollywood. You do what you do, and Hollywood will come to you. That's exactly what
Right.
happened. That's exactly what happened.
Right.
All the opportunities. She said, they'll come to you, baby, because they'll see the value. Work on your value. And that's what I sat in this room for 6 years and did. Worked on my value. People know me all over the world. And I'm so humbled by that experience because they didn't have to know me at all.
Exactly.
Mental illness almost took me out of here several times.
Wow.
And it's like I sit here, this pioneer, this trailblazer, this trendsetter that says you can have everything stacked against you and still make it. The very people that believe in religion and tell you God is this and God loves were telling me there is no hope for me. Oh, you're gay. There's no hope
They
for
love
you.
to say that.
Yeah, you're gay. There's no hope for you. And now you're bringing in this whole transvestite thing. And I look at them and say, baby, I've been a transvestite since I was 8. And it's so funny because my grandmother was devout and religious. And then I said to her, I said, isn't it funny that all the work that I've done, the divine made me the millionaire in the family? Isn't it funny with all your prayers, all you have is God. And I have so much more.
Right.
I have so much more. And she said, well, I can't knock that. She said, I can't knock that. He chose you.
Yeah,
Yes, we were wrong.
And whatever God they're talking about, because
right. She said, I got
God.
all wrong.
Which God? Is it the white? Is it the older white Jesus in the sky? I don't know. Whatever God they pray to.
Right, whatever God. He ain't listening.
Shout out to Jesus, but who's his dad? I mean, the older white man. I don't know.
Right. Listen, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. And it's so crazy too because I have a beautiful relationship with the divine.
Me too. Yeah.
You're a spirit leader.
Well, that's what I say because I didn't know what to put in that little option. But I'm not literally a spiritual leader, but I feel like I am. But not for a bunch of people, not for like a church or something. Right?
Well, get this, it doesn't have to be a church. Like my grandmother told me, you have an online community that follows you. They're your people. They're your tribe.
Spiritual leader, spirituality.
Yeah.
To me, living life is a spiritual thing.
It's like, a spiritual experience.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
It's a spiritual experience, the whole thing, the whole shebang. It's a spiritual experience. Oh my God, I literally have talked your ears off.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
I have talked your ears off.
Shoot, I didn't even realize the time.
Right, I know. But this was amazing. Let me see. I got another one. Okay, no, I'm doing good. I got another one at 6. It's okay. So tell everybody, give everybody. Okay. So after hearing these things that you have heard, what is your takeaway? I never do this with people, but you had such shock on your face that I was like, okay, we need to see what he's thinking about this. So tell us what you think about what you heard.
What I think, I don't know, it's just so terrible. Sorry.
No, say it. It's terrible. Say it.
I feel it's just unfortunate that your family can't get behind you and support you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our best horse in the race, so let's get behind this person and support them.
Yeah.
Like they did Kim.
Right? Best horse in the race, baby. Come on.
You just can't get past your little things you put in your brain.
Yeah.
Like, I can't support this, or I don't like the way this is going down.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna throw a bunch of stones.
Yeah.
It's hurtful to me. It's just like so unfortunate.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. I feel bad for them almost. Yeah. I do feel bad for them. Like empathy, not sympathy.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad like I'm a cracker, but like, ooh, you idiots.
And the sad thing is, in doing that to me, in keeping that inside, they miss their entire lives and the meaning of life. They miss it. They miss
and you can help them grow. You still can if you want to give them some of your light. If you want to give them some of your light, but
get this, I can't even be in the same room with them. I've had violence break out. Like
that's crazy. Yeah,
I can't
that's unnecessary. Yeah, you don't need that in your life at all. I mean,
You're right.
I
But get,
feel for you. I mean, I know you've cut the cord and stuff. It's just like, damn.
but look at
Like, I
this.
can't even imagine my brother doing that to me. I
But
mean, maybe when he gets older, I don't know, but he's giving me like a little, you know, the little pride. He's giving me like a little gay flag in the shape of a peace sign. So, you know, he's kind of like progressive. He's 16 and I'm 11. So they're cool, but so I feel that, I feel bad. Like, it's like, damn.
get this. Above it all,
Hmm.
I gotta be me.
You gotta be you.
I
That's all you
gotta
can
be
be.
me.
Yeah.
That's all I can be. And I love that my grandmother backed me. I'm
Yes, me
so
too. She's so
grateful.
evolved. I
Yeah.
almost feel like your siblings and your family, they're gonna have to come back to this planet again and do this life again because they didn't learn the
Miss
lessons
it.
they need to learn.
They
My
miss
mom, she learned the lesson. She said, "Oh no, I gotta have my son in my life." I
yeah.
don't know when that happened. I mean, I don't know if it was in between me putting dildos in my butt or jerking off on camp. I don't know when that happened, you know. So for her to do that,
Yeah.
to still accept me, I'm like, more power to you, mom, because some people aren't even doing what I'm doing. You
Right.
know, they're doing like what you're doing, professional stuff. I mean, you know, I have my profession, but
You do.
like you're
We
a
love you.
whole
That's why
kid.
I'm
But you
here.
know, my profession is a little risque, so it's
We
like
love
for
it.
my
We
mom
love
to
it.
be like
Love
okay
it.
with it. It's like that says a lot about her because you know
Yeah.
I'm being gay on in public, like I'm being gay on the
On
camera, and I'm being a
purpose.
gay act.
On,
Yeah, like,
you're being gay on purpose.
yeah, yeah, on
Yeah.
purpose.
Not by
You know,
accident.
so
On
yeah,
purpose. But
exactly.
guess what? You said something that made a lot of sense, and when it hit me, um, they still get my light because they watch me, and
Ooh,
this heals.
yes, yes. Like, and I have love for them on a human level, like love energy level. Like, I
I had
feel
to let it go.
bad.
I had to let go
It's
of my anger.
terrible.
I had to let go of
Yeah,
my anger. Like, and I think I woke up. That was like 3 days ago, and I was just like,
I hope they can find some
let it
healing.
go. I
They
said to
need some of
myself,
that.
yeah, I said to
And you're
myself,
very healing and empowering. I feel it. I feel it by the energy on this live. So it's such a shame. I feel bad for them. They're missing out. That's terrible. Oh, yeah.
but you know what? I also had to realize you can't help everybody.
You can. You'll wear yourself thin. You got to put yourself first sometimes.
First,
Not even first
first.
sometimes, but at least half the times. I find it's all about the balance.
I put
They
myself
demonize
first
the
all
word
the time.
selfish all the time. All the time, most definitely. But you know, let me clarify. Like they demonize the word selfish. I'm not saying it's good to be selfish only, but you gotta be selfish. You gotta balance it with a selflessness. Like I feel like this, you allow me on your platform. That's part of the selflessness. You're not being, you know, it's selfish, but also
Yeah,
selfless because you're inviting me on your platform, for
yeah.
example. You know,
It's
but
a beautiful, and that's the thing. Like, see, me having the opportunity to go to Europe so young, I
yes.
realized that the world was such a bigger place. I realized that what I was struggling with and fighting with no longer mattered. When I
Mm.
came back to the States in 2006, I wasn't here. I immediately started working all these years, 17 years, so that I could go be a part of the world, not
Mhm.
just this country, not just this city, not just this state, not just, my town. Like I'm a global citizen, and I made sure
Yes.
I had to. And that's the thing. People, oh, well, it took so long. No, baby, I had to build it. And when I built it the right way, it ain't gonna never fall. Never.
Mhm.
It's gonna always be there. And it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. Take care of me for the rest of my life. And not just me, but everybody else who's a part of it. There's so much I can do for people that I could have never done had I had a small way of thinking. And this way of thinking, I love what you said, it's evolved because I wasn't always this
It
way.
is.
It's highly evolved. It's my grandmother, it's my therapy, it's the divine all speaking to me, and me all speaking to me and processing everything. And that it has made this amazing creature that I can take no credit for. I can't take credit for this. This
It's
what
a
we
collaboration, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I don't.
Between you and the divine, your grandma. It's a collab.
I always say I feel like the divine set me up, because what it was it's a playhouse, it's a theater. The curtains are down, the red curtains are down. The divine says to me, "Come over here. I know you've been through a lot. Let's change you." I get changed,
Mm.
and then he stands me on the X right before the curtains open, and he says, "You just stay here. and I stay there. He takes, and then immediately I watch him run around and build the entire set around me, the lights and everything. Yes. And then at the completion, comes over to me and hands me the microphone, makes sure it's on, and hands it to me and says, now do your thing.
Oh my gosh.
And then literally curtains come up. This makes me cry. Curtains come up and the audience is applauding me, but I'm looking exit stage left at the divine walk off because he did all the work. I love that visual. Yes, he did all the work, and then he winks at me and I'm standing there and they're like, sing, sing, sing. And then I go to open my mouth knowing that I was just standing on the X the whole time. Just sometimes being in the right place in the right time is just. You just
told the divine what you wanted.
Yeah, just standing on the X. I did all of that. I'm just standing here, and everybody's, oh, you're so amazing. What were you thinking when you wrote this song? And they don't even understand how in tune I am with the divine. Every song I've ever written never took me more than 15 minutes to write, and I heard them in my ears. I literally hear music. And when I hear music, I don't just hear melodies. I sing the entire song. First verse, chorus, second verse, chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus. And it comes out that way. And then me and my producers make the beats. And then literally, I have one album with 50 songs on it. And it's just like, yeah. And I'm not done. I hear it. It's that level of proficiency and that level of energy is in my life. Now, and I understand, and I do encounter it even from Black people.
So not all. I feel it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
But I do encounter it even from other Black people that realize I'm the most impressive horse in the race.
Right.
So they didn't get what I got, and they try to make it hard for me. But how are you going to make something hard for a creature that is engulfed in flames? You can't even touch me.
Exactly.
You can't even touch me.
Exactly. They worry about themselves.
Yeah, they gotta worry about themselves. Get you some, because I got me some.
Right. I'll tear you down. Oh my gosh.
All right. Give me 3 words that inspire and empower you.
Okay. Freedom.
Yeah.
That's one. Empathy.
Yeah.
Not sympathy. I'm not a big sympathy person.
Right.
I like to put myself in people's shoes, so that empathy.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. What was the question again?
3 words.
That inspires me.
Yeah, and empowers you.
Empowers me. Master.
Yeah. Yeah.
Master.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that. Tell everyone where they can find you online, where we can see these online webcams.
Don't tell anybody.
Honey, listen, I saw enough. I got you on here. I
know she's like you.
I can't show them. But I got you pulled up right now. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The queen sees all, honey, and she loves it.
Thank you, Queen. You could check me out on Twitter and Instagram, Myles_Spears, YouTube, Myles Spears ASMR, and I have a ChatterBait account. It's Myles_is_perfect.
Yeah.
Now, I never considered myself perfect or anything, but when I made that account, I just decided, I'm gonna call myself perfect because I accept all my flaws, and that's kind of where that stems from.
Exactly.
Myles_is_perfect.
Yes.
So those are my main things I got going on right now. Of course, you can catch me on Gemini Films YouTube channel. Do the Come Up Miami and stuff, and Armand Wiggins' Boys Church should be coming back soon.
Oh, thank you so much for taking this time
awesome.
to talk with me, to chat with me. We've bonded. I have my hooks in you. You can't get away. Can't get away. You have my number. Like, it's just.
Yes.
I look forward to a beautiful friendship, and I have to get to Florida. I have to get to Florida. But I'm waiting because I'm scared of COVID. I had it.
COVID. It's not over?
No, it ain't over. It ain't over. She just this is the intermission. This is the intermission. That
just wear your mask.
Yeah, she get ready to come back.
I hope not. Oh my gosh. No, you gotta hit the beach.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me so much.
Don't go
And
anywhere.
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of the very beautiful, very intelligent, very talented, very sexy Myles Spears. Say bye to the people, but don't go anywhere.
Bye. Much love, y'all.
So, did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm assuming first position. Gonna show you I'm a boss. I've been given 60 seconds just to put my thing down. I'll have you wanting my stilettos by the time I turn around. Turn that TV down.